back for another What's for Dinner recipe video. If you're new, my name is Leah and I am all about spending less, creating more, and sharing with you how you can do the same thing in your kitchen. And that starts in the grocery store. So if you haven't been checking out my discount grocery hauls and how I meal plan, you can check out a full playlist down in the description box. But today I'm going to be sharing with you some dinner recipes or lunch that are going to be delicious, easy, and super quick. Because sometimes spending less in the kitchen honestly means spending less time. Quick and convenient does not have to mean from the freezer section. So I'm gonna share with you some of these recipes and I'd love to hear some of your ideas too. This week I'm starting out with our red beans and rice, and I learned this from my uncle in Louisiana. So he taught me the authentic way, and then I had to adapt it to the ingredients that we have available near us. I'm also going to be using powdered garlic only because I did not realize we were out of fresh until I started cooking. Now, if you'd like to find one of these food huggers for your produce items that you want to keep fresh after opening, I will have that down in the description box for you. They come in different sizes and colors, and they're amazing. So I definitely recommend those. But I'm going to be getting this meal started with sauteing my vegetables. So I need some chopped up bell pepper. You can use any color you want, but I'm using green. And then I'm also using chopped up white onion. Again, he didn't tell me which kind of onion it has to be, but that is what I chose to use for this recipe. I also made this meal from start to finish in my Instant Pot, which allowed me to have less dishes to cook, and it made everything go by much quicker. So once I had all of my vegetables chopped up and my sausage chopped up into smaller pieces, I sauteed everything without oil or butter of any kind in my Instant Pot. So that actually worked out so well without any oil because the sausage has so much grease in it already. You can see it's just a fatty product, and that released a lot of grease. So you can see I turned off the burner, basically. I turned off the heat so that I didn't have all this steam, because I wanted to show you this has only been on for like 2 minutes and the grease is already starting to come out. So if I were to have added oil or butter to the vegetables, then it would just be extremely greasy, which you could do, especially if you're using a leaner meat, probably like a turkey sausage if it's a low-fat turkey. But because this is so high fat, it's already going to have a lot of grease. Now, these beans came home with us from vacation, but if you don't have these exact kind of red beans or the long standard red beans, I think you could use other kinds. We have small red beans near us, and I've not tried them with this recipe, but I would say that that's better than pinto. Now, in this recipe, I'm going to be using the full 2 pounds of dried beans, and I did garlic to taste. Of course, you could use fresh or minced garlic from a jar, and I'm using a homemade Cajun seasoning that my uncle makes. He makes it for us, and then we can have it on hand, but you could use any kind of Cajun seasoning that you want. Now, you're going to end up sauteing everything until it's nice and soft, and your sausage has been browned, and you see all those brown bits on the bottom. You don't want it to burn, but once you see the browning on it, all those flavors are going to come into your broth and then into your beans. So deglaze the pan by pouring 12 cups of broth into it. Once you pour that in, it's deglazing the pan, so make sure you use your spoon. Pull up all of that browned bit off the bottom of the pan, and then you're going to pour all of your 2 pounds of beans dry right in there. You can soak them if you want, but I'm telling you, if you use the bean chili function on your Instant Pot, you're not going to have to soak them whatsoever. And you can see here after that setting, they were a little loose still. It wasn't a nice thick red beans, but I just left it on the slow cooker keep warm function when I went to bed that night, and about 7 hours later I got up and this is how much thicker they got. So the longer they sit on a slow cooker or keep warm function, the thicker they're going to get. Even refrigerating them is going to cause the beans to soak up, and then the broth is just going to thicken. So if you wanted to, you could refrigerate this overnight and then serve it the next day. Then you just make up some rice, serve it with some extra Cajun seasoning if you want, some little fresh herbs like parsley or, green onion, and you're good to go. Another easy, adaptable meal that I like to cook is a quinoa chicken salad. You can use any kind of protein that you want, different dressings. But I'm starting with 1 cup of dry quinoa, 2 cups of water on my stove, and I like to put a little oil and seasoning in there. And then I'm also cooking some chicken in the oven. I'm actually meal prepping 2 different pans, 2 different flavors. But once I got that in the oven, I started prepping all of my vegetables. And for today's quinoa salad, I used grape tomatoes, power greens. You could use baby spinach. I'm also using some seedless cucumber.
So whatever you have on hand, if you want to add bell peppers to it, if you want to add some beets, onion, you could use olives or anything else that sounds good to you. So I'm just literally getting all of these items chopped up and put into a bowl, ready to have for whenever my quinoa and chicken is done cooking. I am a big fan of batch cooking your proteins, whether it's ground beef when you get home from the grocery store or cooking up big family packs of chicken breasts so that you can have it in your freezer ready to go for an easy meal. I butterfly my chicken, season it without any kind of oil whatsoever. It just creates its own. And then you can freeze it in Ziploc bags and pull out what you want as you need it and microwave it. It's amazing. So now that all of my ingredients are fully cooked, I am just putting everything into the same bowl. I have all of my mixed greens. I'm pouring the quinoa right over top of it to help it a little bit wilt. And then I'm going to also be using some Italian dressing on the side. Everyone can put their own on. And I'm using some feta. Now I've bought this low-fat feta for the first time in one of my grocery hauls recently, and I cannot tell the difference between this low-fat versus full-fat. Now I will say there's some other fat-free or low-fat items I've bought that I will never be buying again, including sour cream. So just keep that in mind. This meal refrigerates well. I love it for leftovers and an easy lunch to take to work the next day. This next meal is such a crowd pleaser. I actually am incorporating it into my weekly themed dinner nights. So we are doing loaded fries once a week for probably the next month. And this particular one was a taco theme. So earlier in the week, I prepped ahead all of the ground beef with taco seasoning. That way I could just microwave it real quick, put it on top of some fries that we put in the air fryer. And then everyone customizes it with their own taco nacho toppings. So really it's like having nachos. You put them in the microwave to melt the cheese, and then that's it. The only difference is that instead of using chips, you're using French fries. And I love this so much. It actually would be really great using a baked potato or sweet potato as well. The options are endless. And like I said, I love that it is so customizable, so everyone is happy. I'd love to hear what kind of ideas and toppings that you have in mind, what you would do on this or on a baked potato. Like I said, we're going to be doing this for the next month, probably once a week, and I've already got some ideas in mind, but I want to see what you all can think up too. Next up, I have another Instant Pot meal. Of course, you could do this in a slow cooker or in your oven, but I am trying to get something from frozen onto my table ready to eat in about an hour. So if you have ever tried to cook meat when it's frozen, you know it takes forever. And if you want it to be falling off the bone, you know it's going to take even longer than that. So I'm actually sticking in these solid frozen barbecue ribs. They're not barbecue, but they will have barbecue sauce on them. I'm putting them in for just over an hour, and I promise you, with just 1 cup of water, some seasoning, and 1 hour, they are going to be falling off the bone. So in that time, I also took care of some corn on the cob. I boiled that, set it aside, and used that starchy corn water to boil my string beans that somebody had dropped off on my porch. I cut up some potatoes, I left the skin on them, cut them into wedges, and put those in with the green beans as well. Let them cook all at the same time. And then when they were done, I went ahead and added some salt to them to taste. If anybody wanted some kind of butter, we could do that as well. But the flavor from the corn actually made such a difference boiling it in that water. So I recommend that. And we served our dinner with watermelon, so I also cut those up as well. And that is just my favorite way of cutting them. Our whole family really enjoys it whenever they're in strips like that, and you still have the little handle to hold on to. But here is our barbecue pulled pork. I took the bone off of all of them because they were technically country ribs. And so I wanted to make sure I got the fat off of them as well. Loaded it up with some barbecue sauce, and dinner was served. Like I said earlier, loaded fries is a big hit in our house. So I decided to make some barbecue chicken bacon loaded fries as well. The chicken gave it some extra protein, but of course you could do this all vegetarian too if you would rather have it with just the cheese and some green onion. Like I said, there's so many endless options on how to do loaded fries. So leave your comments down below. But this time I ended up using this bacon that I got on amazing discount at our grocery outlet store. I mean, if you didn't see that video, go back and check it out. I'll have it down in the description box for you. But I picked up, this is cooked. After being cooked, it's 4.5 pounds of bacon. The equivalent, if I were to go to Kroger and buy boxes, that's like 2 ounces of cooked bacon at a time. This is over $100 worth of bacon. So
amazing. I just microwaved the pieces that I wanted on paper towel. Of course, the fries were in the air fryer, and then we have the chicken chopped up. I keep that cooked in my freezer, so it's really easy to just add protein to a lunch or to a dinner. And then I loaded everything up. It's pretty amazing how something so simple can make everybody so happy. We oftentimes think, oh, well, our meal plans are boring, or what could I possibly do? Just put some cheese on some French fries and pick a protein, and I promise you, everyone will be happy. So we are back at it with another Tex-Mex themed night. I feel like we could truly eat something like this every day. So all the toppings just in different form, I guess. We are doing it with some Doritos because I'm going to be making walking tacos. Instead of spending the extra money on individual bags of chips, we're going to use some styrofoam cups that I had left over from an event. They're pretty big. Crush up our chips in there, load up the meat and all the toppings that everybody wants. We were going to use sour cream. I had bought some fat-free sour cream because we were out of regular, and I was like, let's just try this one. No, I would rather have Greek yogurt, just plain Greek yogurt in replacement of sour cream. This was even less tasty than Greek yogurt replacement. So if you're trying to save on fat and you want sour cream, I would just go with the Greek yogurt. Plus, you're going to get more protein from that. But we live and learn, so it's definitely not worth it. But these were so easy to put together. Again, such a crowd pleaser, makes kids so excited. I mean, anytime that you can serve something more novel and, it's different, it's not on a plate, just changing up the way that you're serving the same old thing can make such a difference in how they approach their dinner and if they enjoy it or not. So hopefully this video gave you some inspiration. And of course, until the next one, I'll see you down in the comments.